Hello. In lieu of our earlier conversation that was started on habits, I woke up this morning and didn't have the best night's sleep last night and didn't really want to get out of bed too early. But it was such a beautiful day when I looked out the window and when I turned on the TV and saw the weather report. And when I looked at my little nougat and knew what joy she would get from being in the park for an hour, being able to run around off leash. So my habits kicked in. So I woke up at the same time without an alarm clock. I got out of bed. I went through my routine. And I was thinking about this last night, and I thought, what can I do differently tomorrow? How can I change my routine a little bit so that I do things a little bit more consciously? Often we go through the day just going through our habits, which may not be toxic, which may be healthy habits, such as getting out of bed, even though you don't really feel like it, taking your dog for a walk. And these habits have a good consistency to them. They may make us feel better because we don't have to think about every single thing that we're doing. And that's the function that habits serve in our lives often. If we had to think about every single decision or every single action, brushing our teeth, flossing, checking the weather, then it would be a lot of mental energy expended in a way that really isn't productive. So although I started going into my routine of getting up, flossing, taking a shower, I decided consciously that I was going to do things a little bit differently, that I was going to take my dog for a walk, that I wasn't just going to eat breakfast right away, that I was going to take the dog for a walk, I was going to do grocery shopping after. Thankfully, they let me carry her in, even though she's a dog, because she's very small and they all like her since I'm there so frequently. And I was going to try to pick out some different things for my fridge. I picked up hummus, which I've made on my own, but I typically don't buy. And I picked up snap peas, which I've bought in the past, but again, just trying to mix it up just a little bit so that I wasn't just walking through the aisles and picking up what I usually do, and a bushel of kale and my lettuce and cucumbers. I picked different cucumbers today. So it's nice when we work within our routines and where we bring awareness to different things that we're doing in between our routines. So not all habits are toxic. We have good habits as well. But it can be a little bit of an eye-opener when we choose to do things a little bit differently within that routine. So Charles Duhigg talks about in The Power of Habit that there's a cue, there's a routine. Within that routine, there's also a craving that develops. And once that develops, that craving, that's when we turn into autopilot from cue to routine. And that it generally ends with a reward. So the cue in the morning may be the time. The routine may be getting up, having breakfast, taking the dog for the walk, brushing the teeth, flossing, There's a craving for consistency, for the routine to kick in instead of that expending of the mental energy. So there's just a craving for ease. And the reward is all the benefits that we get from going into our routines. The joy that I see looking at my dog in the park, the fulfillment I get from filling up my fridge with good wholesome foods, coming home and being able to prepare lunch. But within that span, how we start to change our habits is by working within them. So instead of going off the map and saying, okay, I'm going to do things differently today, and I'm not going to go to the park, I'm going to go to the park a little later, it's helpful to work within that routine and try to just, at first, change things up a little bit, especially if that routine is becoming a little stale, or you see pockets for improvement, or just an ability to bring more awareness to the day. So keeping it in that framework, instead of first trying to look at toxic habits and how we can move forward in changing toxic habits, I think the first step is bringing awareness to our healthy habits. So spinning it in a positive light, that we just start looking at our healthy habits and seeing what we could do, how we can modify them just slightly to perhaps improve them, or just to change them up just a little bit, to see that we can break out of that pattern, out of patterns, and that it could be a good thing. And just being aware of how we feel after that, or how we feel in the process. Do we feel comfortable? Do we feel uncomfortable? Having our coffee, or drinking, as I did this morning, drinking a warm cup with lemon, which is suggested in Ayurvedic medicine to aid in digestion and for cleansing purposes, instead of having my morning coffee right away. So again, working within our routines, within the cues that we have, the routines that we have, the rewards that we get, and just bringing awareness and being in tune with how we feel. So I encourage you to do that for the next week, even for the next couple days, and see how your routines may shift a little bit. And I encourage you to leave me comments and tell me how you identify your healthy habits. Tell me what constitutes a healthy habit, because going forward we'll also be looking at our toxic habits and what for us, how we identify toxic habits in our day-to-day.